It began quietly, with a sigh that said more than words ever could. Not anger, not shouting, just a heavy breath from a mother who had finally reached her breaking point. Marlene Holt, the woman who has stood beside her son through every storm, every scandal, and every heartbreak, finally spoke up. For years, she had been Martell Holt's shield, the one person who never turned her back on him, no matter how bad things got. But this time, her silence broke, and when it did, the truth came pouring out like years of bottled-up pain that could no longer be hidden. This wasn't just gossip or another love and marriage Huntsville moment. This was a mother, tired and heartbroken, saying that she could no longer keep covering for her son. And when those words came out, people felt it deep in their hearts. You could see the exhaustion on her face, the disappointment in her eyes, and the love that still lingered beneath all that pain. Marlene didn't sound angry. She sounded defeated, like she had watched her son lose himself piece by piece, and now she couldn't recognize the man he had become. She had watched him burn bridges, lose his marriage, damage his family, and chase fame while ignoring peace. She had seen him go from being a devoted husband and father to someone constantly surrounded by controversy, denial, and broken relationships. And now, for the first time, she said out loud what so many others had whispered for years: Martell needs to stop. That one sentence hit harder than any argument, any post, or any reunion fight. Because coming from her, it wasn't shade. It was truth. When your own mother, the person who gave you life, starts saying she's done protecting you, that means reality has finally caught up. Fans could tell this wasn't just about frustration. It was about love mixed with heartbreak. A mother's love that had reached the edge of exhaustion. When Marlene started comparing Melody Cherie and Arion Curry, you could almost hear the air leave the room. She didn't go for drama or mess. She spoke like a woman who had seen too much and couldn't keep pretending. She said Melody was the backbone of that family, the one who held things together even when everything was falling apart. She spoke about Melody with respect, acknowledging that she was the strength that kept the household standing, even when her heart was breaking. And then came the part that shook everyone, when she called Arion chaos. Simple, direct, and painful. For a mother to look at the woman her son chose after destroying his marriage and say, "That's not it. You know things have reached a breaking point." It wasn't said out of hate, but out of clarity. Marlene could finally see what the rest of the world had seen all along, that her son's choices had led him down a road of self-destruction. Fans flooded social media with comments, saying things like, "Marlene finally sees the truth," and "She's done pretending." But what truly made her words hit hard was when she shared a story about Arion. She said Arion, a trained nurse, was sitting there asking Martell for permission to work. Think about that for a second. A grown, educated woman asking a man for approval to use her own skills and career. That one moment exposed everything people had been wondering about. It wasn't love, it was control. And when Martell had the nerve to mock her job, calling nurses dishonest, the irony was too much. This is the same man who had lied for years, cheated on his wife, had a child outside his marriage, and somehow still wanted to call himself the moral one. The internet erupted, and people could see the pain in Marlene's eyes. She didn't look furious. She looked broken. She looked like a mother mourning the son she once knew. Then came the moment that really hit everyone, when she talked about Maverick, the youngest son born from Martell's affair. You could hear her voice soften, filled with both love and pain. She loves that child deeply. He's her grandson. But every time she looks at him, she's reminded of the damage her son caused. It's not Maverick's fault, and she knows that. but his existence is a constant reminder of betrayal, heartbreak, and everything that fell apart. It's the kind of pain that doesn't go away no matter how much you try to heal. Fans felt that emotion. They saw the pain of a grandmother who loves her grandchild but can't separate him from the story of how he came into the world. It's not about hate, it's about heartbreak. Because behind the cameras, behind the headlines, there are real emotions, real families, and real wounds that don't heal overnight. While all of this is happening, Melody Shari continues to move differently. She's not engaging in the chaos. She's focused, calm, and at peace. She's raising her kids, booking speaking events, performing, and keeping her dignity intact. Every time Martell tries to pull her back into drama, she refuses. Her silence has become her greatest strength. Every move she makes shows that she's evolved, that she's no longer living in the storm Martell created. And now, with Marlene's words out there, everything Melody said in the past suddenly feels validated. For years, people questioned her, called her bitter, or accused her of exaggerating. But when Martell's own mother quietly agrees with her truth, that changes everything. It's no longer her word against his. It's now his own family admitting that something is deeply wrong. After Marlene's confession spread online, fans began digging up old clips of her defending Martell. They remembered how she used to say things like, "My son just made a mistake," or "He's a good man who needs time." But now, those same clips feel different. They sound like a mother who is trying to convince herself more than anyone else. And that's what makes it heartbreaking. Because for so long she stood by him, hoping he would turn things around. But now, it seems like even she's run out of hope. People say a mother's love covers all, and that's true to an extent. But even a mother knows when love becomes enabling. Marlene reached that line. She realized that protecting Martell was no longer helping him grow. It was helping him stay stuck. Her decision to stop covering for him wasn't made out of anger, but out of tough love. Fans pointed out that if your own mother is tired of your drama, it's time to reflect. They're right, because at this point, Martell isn't just losing the support of fans or cast members, he's losing the people who have always loved him unconditionally. The same people who defended him are now standing back, watching him spiral. Even his longtime friends, Marceau and Maurice Scott, seem to have reached their limits. They've both tried to talk sense into him. Maurice has reminded him to focus on his kids, not the noise. Marceau, always blunt, has said that Martell's biggest problem is pride. But Martell doesn't listen. He brushes it off, claiming everyone's against him. But now, with his own mother's truth out there, it's impossible to ignore. You can even see it in Kimmy Scott. She doesn't sugarcoat things anymore. She's been through her own battles, including serious health challenges. Yet she still handles everything with calm and grace. Kimmy once said, "Peace is expensive, and not everyone's willing to pay for it." Melody paid that price, and now she's glowing. Martell, on the other hand, keeps chasing chaos. While Melody continues to build a peaceful life, Martell seems stuck in the same cycle, filing motions, posting online, and trying to control the narrative. But the truth is catching up. His actions keep showing that he hasn't learned. Every time he tries to drag Melody into something, it only highlights her growth and his stagnation. And Arion, she's still there, holding on to a situation that's been draining her for years. She traded her identity to be Martell's girl, but what has that gotten her? Public embarrassment, emotional exhaustion, and a man who keeps proving that he doesn't respect anyone, not even himself. When fans found out she had to ask permission to work, that broke people's hearts. Because that's not love. That's control disguised as devotion. The moment Martell insulted nurses, calling them dishonest, was when people completely lost respect for him. The irony was too much. How can someone who's lied for years talk about honesty? Even Marlene couldn't hide her disappointment. You could see it all over her face. That silence, that long stare. It wasn't just frustration. It was decades of disappointment sitting heavy in her chest. And then, again, Maverick came up. The pain in Marlene's voice was undeniable. She adores her grandson, but she can't look at him without remembering what her son destroyed. That's not hate toward the child. That's heartbreak for the family that used to be whole. Fans felt that deep in their hearts because it's real. It's what happens when betrayal leaves scars that can't be covered up. Meanwhile, Melody keeps turning pain into power. She's out there working, raising her kids, and showing grace in everything she does. She's not speaking on Martell because she doesn't have to. Her success speaks for itself. Every move she makes says, "I'm good." That's what growth looks like. That's what healing looks like. Martell, on the other hand, keeps trying to pull her back, maybe because he knows that once she's fully free, his story loses its grip. His relevance fades when she stops reacting. It's as if he can't stand to see her doing well without him being part of it. But the world can see the difference now. One person healed, the other still hurting. Period. Destiny Payton has stayed quiet through all of this, but her silence speaks volumes. She's seen everything up close. The excuses, the tantrums, the manipulation. She's seen Martell's patterns. And when she finally speaks, it's going to shake things up. Because Destiny's been close enough to know the truth, and she's not blind to how Martell operates. Even Miss Wanda, who's known for her wild mouth, has been saying things that now sound more real than ever. She called Martell careless and messy. At the time, people laughed, but now it all makes sense. When both Marlene and Wanda, two women who can barely stand each other, start agreeing on the same truth, that's not gossip. That's confirmation. Then there's the court situation. When news came out that the judge ordered Martell to get counseling and a psychological evaluation, fans realized how serious things had gotten. Judges don't make those orders without reason. That was the world telling him, it's time to fix yourself. But he ignored it for 2 years. 2 years pretending everything was fine while losing everything around him. That's not strength. That's denial. Meanwhile, Melody continues to move forward with grace. She's co-parenting, working, staying booked, and avoiding unnecessary conflict. Every time Martell throws shade, she smiles and keeps shining. That's why fans respect her so much. She's living proof that you can go through betrayal, rebuild your peace, and still rise above it. But the saddest part of all this, the part that truly hurts, is the children. Those babies see everything. They may not understand all the legal stuff or the social media posts, but they feel the energy. They know who brings peace and who brings tension. They know which parent keeps the home calm and which one stirs the storm. And one day, they'll remember. They'll remember who protected them and who made them feel unsafe. That's the kind of truth that lasts forever. Because no matter what happens between the adults, the children are the ones who carry the emotional weight. They're the ones who grow up with memories of what peace felt like and what chaos sounded like. And one day, they'll tell their own story, and it won't be from Martell's point of view. It'll be from their own eyes, remembering who really stood for them. That's what makes this entire situation so heartbreaking. Because it's not just about reality TV anymore. It's about real people, real families, and real consequences. Marlene's words didn't just expose Martell's flaws. They revealed the pain of a mother who has tried everything and now realizes she can't save her son from himself. When a mother finally says, "I'm done covering for him," that's not betrayal, that's a wake-up call. Marlene spoke for every parent who's had to watch their child make the same mistakes over and over again while pretending everything's fine. Her voice was filled with sadness, yes, but also truth. Because sometimes, love means telling the truth, even when it hurts. Her words hit harder than any fight, any reunion argument, or any social media rant. They stripped away the illusion and left only reality. A man lost in his own ego, surrounded by people too tired to keep making excuses. And now, everyone is watching, wondering if Martell will finally listen. Because at the end of the day, all the fame, all the cameras, and all the headlines fade. But what remains is family. The relationships that either heal or break completely. Marlene's heartbreak is proof that no matter how far someone goes, a mother's love doesn't disappear. It just reaches a point where it can no longer protect. And that's where things stand now. A mother who still loves her son, but refuses to enable him. A woman who sees the truth for what it is, and a grandmother who worries deeply for Maverick's future. Because she knows that unless Martell changes, history might repeat itself. That's what's so tragic about all this. The same cycle of ego, control, and chaos that tore his marriage apart could now affect his children if he doesn't stop. Arlene's plea isn't just about Martell. It's about the next generation. It's about Maverick and his siblings growing up in peace instead of pain. And maybe, just maybe, her words will be the push that finally makes him see. Because sometimes, the only voice that can reach a man who's lost himself is the voice of his mother.